Please welcome to the stage from Google Canada, Sabrina Geremia.
All right, well, thank you guys. It's good to see you all today, and that was a perfect video to talk to you a little bit about a big opportunity. And I'm actually not here to tell you about anything that you don't know, but I'm here to solicit your help. And I'd like you to start off by picturing in your head a girl, a young woman, maybe between the ages of kind of 10 and 18. It could be a relative, maybe it's a family friend, it could be someone you know in your community, it might even be a group of girls. Y'all got that? Okay? So this is a girl that you want to give possibilities to, someone that you really want to kind of open up the doors of their future to. And I'm going to rewind and tell you a little bit about myself when I was that age. So when I was 11 years old, I have this very vivid recollection. It was the week before Christmas, and my brother Joe, he came home. He was an executive at IBM, and he walked in the house, and he dumped this enormous box at my feet. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And he said, this is for you. It's a computer, and I want you to play with it over the holidays. And this is what it was. How many of you had a first computer that looked like this? Yes, okay, so there's this is not completely unfamiliar to those of you who are now, working on tablets and everything, right? So he left it with me, I opened it all up, I managed it way more than I did, I got it out, and I was looking at it, and then I just had my first problem, was that I didn't even know how to plug it in. And I got a little bit intimidated by it, so I ran upstairs, and I'm like, Joe, I don't know how to plug this in, I don't know how to start this. And he looked at me, and it's burned in my memory what he said to me. He said, Sabrina, you're smart, you will figure it out, you're not gonna break it. And with that, he sent me back downstairs. And he was totally right. The plugs only went in one place. Plugging in this computer was not gonna break it. But I was 11 years old. And that was the very first time that I remember being encouraged by technology by my older brother, Joe. And it was such an important thing because through the rest of, my teenage years, I ended up saving money to buy one of these things. And I wrote poems for schools. I did all of my essays on it. I figured out all of these things. And then I ended up going to university. I had two roads. I had engineering and I had business. And I ended up in business. I didn't go down the engineering because I didn't even really know what that was going to mean. And I definitely didn't consider computer science. But that encouragement from that brother and that exposure at that early age stayed with me. And through a whole windy kind of career path, I've been at Google for 10 years. And my job is to explain technology, where everything is going, and how Google can help the different clients we work with, how we can make their businesses grow and advance with the future of technology and the products that we have. So I ended up in technology in a really weird way, and I'm guessing a lot of you are in technology, but I'm here to solicit you guys to be influencers, to do the exact same thing that my brother did to another girl or group of girls, because you have the power to do this. And I'm gonna unpack a little bit about what's going on. So the first thing is how many of you are kind of really clear on what computer science is? You want to put your hands up? Pretty good. Okay, let's play this video.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Olivia? An astronaut.
Do you happen to know what a computer programmer is?
Yeah, no. Wait, what?
I'm not really sure how to explain it.
Computer programming is pretty simple. It's a set of instructions like a recipe. You have to follow them step by step to get the end result you want.
What computer science is that it's a way to impact the world.
It can be music videos, it can be games.
Detect whether or not someone's related to someone else. You can, find people's friends. You can do all sorts of other crazy things, like actually save lives.
You do have to have a drive, I think. And it is to me like a paintbrush. I think great programming is not all that dissimilar from great art.
When I finally learned a little bit of programming, that blank wall resolved into a bunch of doors, and you open them, and of course the thing you find behind them is another hallway filled with a bunch of doors.
Programming's fun and easy. You can do anything your mind wants to do.
Right, so, little kids don't know what this is, right? They have no idea. But what I really love about all the definitions and everything that you hear there is the idea that it's a tool to create, right? It's a tool that helps you create things, that you're becoming a creator, not a consumer. It's a skill around problem solving. These are all exciting things, right? These are amazing things. And you think, oh my God, yeah, I want some of that. But the truth of the matter is that only, can go to the next slide? Only 1% of high school girls are actually considering computer science. So this is a research that we did in the States. We have a team at Google who is super, I think we're having some issues. Just the next slide, please. So we have a team at Google who's super passionate about this, and they did a bunch of research, right? Because what's happening in the landscape today is that despite the fact that there's 50-50 men and women out there, the rates of people graduating from computer science are predominantly male. These are US figures, it's 18%. The latest I've seen on Canada is that we're 27%, but that's down from 37% 3 years ago. And some of the leading universities in Canada, the published stats they have is like in the 10-15% of women graduating from computer science. So this scares me a little. It scares a lot of people. That's why a lot of you are here. It's not cool. It's not okay, right? If the whole future, everything that's going to be happening is so going to be laced with code, all of these really great opportunities from healthcare to you saw fashion to medicine to everything is going to be done, and it has to be built with a diverse set of people in it to get to the best outcome. And this is it. Like, nobody's considering it. So if it's gone from 37 to 27 in Canada, if this is true for Canada, what's it going to be like in 3 or 4 years, right? That's absolutely not okay. That less than 1% of high school girls are considering computer science for their degree. It's just not okay. So this team saw the problem, but they tried to figure out, let's unpack it, and let's figure out what is behind this problem. And they identified a couple of factors that were driving this and that are completely coachable and influenceable. And it's not rocket science. And there's some handouts that you can get at the end that look at this. So there's basically 4 main areas. So the first is plain and simple. It's what Joe did for me. It's encouragement. It's encouraging girls. Did my family and friends encourage me to even try coding? Simple, right? The second one is career perception. Girls and everybody, today they want to fulfill their passions with their careers, right? It's not like 10, 20 years ago that your careers were limited. I saw a stat recently that 65% of the jobs that are facing kids going into preschool right now, so my kids are 5, there's going to be 65% of their options don't even exist today. So, you know, my little Zach and Zoe, when they graduate, like when we talk about their career possibilities, it might actually be, yeah, they think about, I want to be this, or I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be whatever, but then my son wants to be a baking policeman who invents things. I'm like, yeah, that's totally possible, right? Like, these are all of these crazy things that are possible, but they don't even know what they are today. And they need to see this link with their passion. The third one is self-perception. And you saw that a bit in that video a second ago, this idea is, oh, I'm not very good at math, right? I'm not good at that. And that one's a really kind of tragic one, and one that we really need to chip away at, because it's not true. And this is all, again, coachable and helpable, and these people can actually change that self-perception. And the last is academic exposure. This one's interesting, you know, are computer classes out there? Is it baked into the school curriculum? I mean, one of the challenges, frankly, is that all of this is evolving so quickly that it's hard for school curriculums to catch up to all of this. And I know everybody's trying their hardest, but the great news is there's a ton of different classes and opportunities in an ecosystem like Actua, who's back there, that's surrounding all of this to make up for this gap until it goes. So what we want to do is we want to inspire these girls. We want them to learn coding, to understand what this means, and to basically not be afraid of this and use it to pursue their dream career, right? That's what we all want for ourselves and for everyone. 3 things. So you as an influencer, think of this girl and think of how you're going to do these 3 things. 1 is encourage to explore and make. 2 is get them into these learning experiences, and 3 is change that career perception. It's really important. So I'll give you a couple of examples for each, and we'll have a little chat and we'll have some questions. So the first one is about encouraging, right? In the same way that my brother encouraged me, how can you encourage that girl to just get out there and try things? So my daughter Zoe is 5. She did her first maker fair in Toronto when she was 3, and she built her first robot. And, you know, does she care about building robots and playing Legos like her brother Zach does? No. But when I took her there and they had a robot example that was a brush that had a little marker attached to it that went round and round in circles and drew things, she was hooked. So she absolutely loved it, and that was the thing for her. So these maker fairs, they're fantastic to go and take kids to. And there's also a ton of resources that are out there. So we have one called Made with Code. So I'd really suggest that all of you maybe write that down if you're going to be spending time with the person that you want to influence. See us first, go talk to Actua Code Makers. It's a partnership. You know, we're really behind them and trying to reach 100,000 youth in Canada in 3 years. I'm going to show you an example of Made with Code. I did this, and again, full disclosure, I'm not technical, right? I am a business graduate. I'm not a computer scientist, but I coded. And this coding thing, this is block programming. It's really simple. It's logic. You drag and drop. You change variables, and it produces an outcome, and it's pretty cool. Then you can share it on Twitter, and people can react to it, and there's all sorts of exercises like this. This is as simple as it is, encouraging that girl, sitting down with her to show her how this actually works. The other thing is expecting girls to do well in math and technology, you know, and this is a real tricky one because, you know, there was a whole thing a while back ago that there was these t-shirts that went out with hearts saying, "I hate math" for girls, and there was a whole outcry on social media. Yeah, that's not okay, right? Math is great. I mean, I spend a lot of time talking to my kids about how math is cool. I have a funny little anecdote that I've gotten them to believe that all princesses are good at math, because there's such a big princess culture with young kids. I don't know if you've encountered this, but it's mind-blowing. Disney does a great job, and there's a lot of princesses. So for me, it's like princesses are good at math, and it's my way to talk about it with them, and we have some fun with it. We went to Disney, and there was mathematicians everywhere. So anyway, so you know, it's at some point she's going to clue in that Mummy's making this up. But for now, it's my key in to having that conversation with her, and then celebrating learning and failure. And you know, again, as a parent, someone who has a lot of millennial nieces and nephews that I spend time with, this is such an important one. That when kids fail, it's okay. And that's a learning opportunity. And that is a real different mindset, and kind of like being with someone that you celebrate that failure. I mean, every time my kids make a mistake when they're trying to build, I tell them they're an engineer. Because an engineer never gets things right the first time. They have to iterate to get to where they're going. But it's a very intentional thing, and not everybody has that kind of encouragement from someone in their life to say, "Hey, you failed, that's awesome." I mean, how many times have you had that, right? It's not a normal thing, and it's something that we definitely need to do more of. So that's about the encouragement. The second thing is about the learning experiences. Like for young kids, these books called Rosie Ribery, The Engineer, are fantastic because they're all about this little girl doing all of these mistakes, and she fails, and then she becomes this, like, you know, she creates these amazing things. And those are fantastic books to read. There's a whole bunch of things online on cool activities and so on. And another thing I've been doing recently is when I go to a girl's birthday party with kids, I give them Goldie Blocks. Goldie Blocks is great. It's an engineering toy for girls. It's made by a woman who is really trying to change the landscape of the pink aisle. And they love it. Like, these are all small things that you can do for these girls around you. But also there's a ton of things online from Khan Academy, the code.org, and Girls Learning Code. I mean, there's a lot of things in Toronto to bring this girl into. And I think it's really important that they go out and they get these learning possibilities that they're maybe not getting in school all the time, and get them embedded in this in like a formal situation in a group with other girls, with other people. And the third is around career perception. I mean, I feel really lucky because I have exposure to some of, I think, the most amazing technical women and business leaders. I mean, at Google and, you know, other companies in the ecosystem, people like Susan Wojcicki, who runs YouTube, or Anna Patterson, who's one of our computer scientists who has a big role in Women at Google and so on. But it's just having people understand these jobs exist. But not only what a computer scientist does today, because like we said, 65% of jobs in the future, we don't even know what they are yet. It's helping them see the possibilities of what they could be. And on the Made with Code site, the video you saw at the beginning was one of the examples. We have all these things called mentors, these videos of these fantastic women and young women who are using code to produce Broadway productions, to make fashion, to solve medical problems, you know, light up the runway on a Zach Posen fashion show. Like, this is cool stuff. And that's what gets girls excited, is the possibility of doing that. So I wanted to show you one video that I'm very impressed by.
I have all these questions in my head, and I'm looking for answers. And these aren't questions that can be solved with a simple Google search. They're really going to take code to be able to answer, because they're questions that have been around for ages. I'm Brittany Wenger. I'm 19 years old. I'm a student at Duke University, and I'm working with code to help fight cancer. When I was in 10th grade, my cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I saw firsthand the experience this really has on a woman and her family, and I knew I wanted to get involved. I wanted it to detect patterns in these biopsies called fine needle aspirates. The problem is it's really difficult for doctors to diagnose these under a microscope. So they've become wildly inconclusive, and most hospitals refuse to use them. I really thought that with code there was a potential to detect even more subtle patterns than what was initially detected under a microscope. And I was able to code a program using this data that makes breast cancer diagnostics quicker and less invasive for the women involved. I don't think anybody is one thing. I am a coder, but I'm also a friend. I'm a family member. I'm really passionate about biology. I'm an athlete. I love playing soccer. I love playing Quidditch, which I don't know if you consider that athletic, but it is athletic. I will debate you on that one. Harry Potter enthusiast. There's a lot more to me than just coding, but at the same point, coding is a huge part of my life. I want to be on the team that's helping find the cures to cancer. And I know that through code, I can bring a perspective that will help with that.
Isn't that amazing? So I first saw Brittany speak when she was 16 at one of our Zeitgeist events, and she had just won the Google Science Project. And she was a 16-year-old girl who just made this huge discovery on how to use code to tackle, one of the things that is leading to a wider understanding of how we could fight cancer. I mean, this is incredible. And those are the possibilities that 1% of those high school girls, maybe they see it, but what's happening to that other 99%, right? Like, why aren't they? And how can you play a role in helping that happen? And there's 3 ways. So go back to the girl that you've got in your head, and I'm actually gonna ask you to do something more than that girl, because I really am, like, this is the value exchange, right? I want you guys to do something about this, is to go and sit down with her and encourage her. Do what my brother did for me. Sit down with her and do something. Do that little crazy exercise on Made with Code. Take her to a maker festival. If she's little, read her Rosie the Engineer. There's a ton of things that you can do in this area. Increase her learning experiences. Be all over her parents if she shows interest or in any of this, to go and sign up for a course with Actua, to do something with Ladies Learning Code or Girls Learning Code. Have them do something about that she's in a formal learning experience. And then show her what the possibilities of code are, right? You could even just take her to that mentor page and flip through a couple of those videos. Depending on what her passion is, there's a video probably that she's gonna relate to, so that she gets it and she understands what the possibilities are. And when I reflect back on me, there was like so many things that I probably would have been a lot more in consideration of doing this had someone actually done all this with me. But why does this matter? Like, why should you actually care about this? Because kids who have parents or role models who encourage CS are 3 times more likely to pursue it. So it's a massive lever, and you don't need to be technical. I'm not technical. And if you are technical, that's fantastic, but you don't need to be technical, you just need to do. And the other thing is there is a whole lot of jobs out there that the future needs, and the future needs diversity in, and they're not actually going to be filled. So the US right now, back of the napkin, they're actually projecting that 1 million qualified computer science jobs are gonna go unfilled. In Canada, they did some recent work on that. It's gonna be 182,000 IT workers in Canada that we're not gonna be able to fill. And at the rate in which girls are graduating versus boys are graduating, that's part of the problem, right? You need to fill that pipeline. You need more girls to go in and more of a diverse skill set of people to go in to have the skills and the prerequisites to fill these jobs of the future that are coming up. So for me, had I really had someone sit down with me and think, what was Sabrina's passion? What would have got her to consider computer science and doing all this? It's this campaign that we just launched last week. So this is Change is Made with Code, and this is all about social impact, community building, social change, and we just launched it this week at the Global Citizen Fest. And I want to show you this video because I think this is actually really exciting.
I saw homeless women sleeping on the ground in the cold. I thought, what would one simple app look like that would let you help somebody in the moment?
Right now, less than 10% of college survivors of sexual assault ever report their assault. It's so scary to come forward, and I wanted to make that process easier.
In Afghanistan, the opportunity of women is a big concern. 68% of women lack formal education. I founded Code to Inspire as the first coding school for girls in Afghanistan.
I built a website that lets you not just donate towards somebody's basic need, but really be able to connect with somebody.
Hand Up enabled me to fundraise $200 for a month's worth of food, and it's helped me return to college.
I came up with the idea for Callisto. It's an online sexual assault reporting system.
I'm the Chief Technical Officer at Callisto. It's so overwhelming to think that I have written the code for a system that has helped survivors in their darkest time of need.
I really felt there's a need to have a place for girls to come and feel comfortable and raise their voice.
We need more girls and women doing this.
If it's just dudes developing applications, only the problems that dudes have are going to be solved.
If there's a change that you want to see in society, you can do that with code.
If not only the girls in Afghanistan, but all the girls around the world learn how to code,
then the next thing you know, you've transformed the world.
That's, the UN. These are big problems of the world, and we need all the girls out there to kind of help out with this, and especially the one that you're going to influence. All right, well, thank you so much, guys, and yeah, good luck with your influencing. Thank you.